Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Somerville. Woo! Good to be back in the studio. All right. Special bonus Wednesday edition. We're going off book. We're here on a Wednesday because we have a very exciting special guest. With me is Patrick Aber, the co-founder of NVSTR.com. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Exciting times. Exciting times. Now, Pat, this is a fun one. In full disclosure, I don't know you.
No, we just met.
Most of my guests up until now, I've had a relationship of some sort with. I've known they've been a friend. Jack, who works here, he's our wonderful CEO/cameraman at the company, lives in the same building as you.
Yes.
On the same floor.
Yes.
You were selling a television?
Yes, that's our full story. I listed a television for sale on our building's website.
Okay.
And he responded. And
here you are.
And here I am today.
I hope we got more than the TV story to talk about then, because
that was my best one.
That was it. We blew it. No, Patrick, this is very exciting stuff because you are obviously an entrepreneur, a tech background, economics, all these things. Let's start from the beginning. Before we get to the company that you co-founded, tell me a little more about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you raised? What was life like?
Sure. Well, I was born in Wisconsin, but mainly grew up in New Hampshire.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Moved there for
Two beautiful
second grade.
Places.
Yeah, both
okay.
Great places to live.
You moved there second grade, okay, on your own or with your family?
My family came with me.
Okay,
yeah.
That's probably best at that point. Yeah,
worked out, yeah.
Yeah, okay. They got more money at that point. New Hampshire, a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
So that's actually, because second grade is what, 8 years old?
Yeah, 7, 8 years old.
So when someone says, where are you from, or where do you identify with, like your childhood and everything, do you think more New Hampshire?
I usually say New Hampshire, but I find that if someone's from the Midwest, I often just like have some kind of connection with them.
Okay. And I imagine that would be you could even be like, yeah, I'm originally from Wisconsin, sure.
Right.
Yeah. I do that. My parents are both from the Bronx, and if I meet anyone who's truly from New York City, they ask if I am. I go, no, my parents are from the Bronx, and right. I think that's going to give me street cred. It never works.
No.
They're like, because they're from the Bronx in the 50s too, and I think they were still dancing and doing knife fights and stuff. So it's a little different. Okay, so back to New Hampshire. Beautiful. Every time I think of New Hampshire, I think of woodsy, lush green. Is that kind of the street you grew up on?
Yeah, I mean it's a great place to grow up for sure.
I bet.
You know, it's quiet, it's safe.
Okay.
There's 18 miles of coastline, I believe. So there's some beaches.
Beautiful.
There's mountains. There's lakes.
Cold water, I assume. Probably can't swim in it.
You can, but it's cold.
Okay.
But, yeah, people.
Good if you wanted.
It's manageable in the summer. But.
Were you an athletic kid? Were you book smart? What was your?
More on the nerdy side.
Okay, nerdy side.
Yeah.
Computers?
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. What was your first computer? What kind of computer?
Oh man, so my dad always had these IBMs that he brought from work. I don't know the model of it. Probably an AT or something like that. Like. And
we're talking
mid 80s.
80s now. So sizable computer to bring home, right?
They were huge. They were loud. They were ugly.
Right.
You know, the screens had maybe 2 colors or 4 colors.
Wow, they're old school.
And
could you do anything on them? I mean, you were a kid because I see kids now with these iPads and they're zipping around doing all this stuff. I mean, could you, those were like big old like data entry looking computers, right?
Yeah, there were a couple games I remember. There was this one I remember called Dr. Spatzo. It was one of the first speech to text.
Oh, really?
Text to speech programs. So it was like supposed to be a counselor or like a psychiatrist, and so it would start out and it would say, Dr. Spatzo by Creative Labs.
I love it.
So tell me about your problems, and then you would type in, I had a bad day today or whatever, and it would.
This is a lot for an 8-year-old.
It would. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't anything serious.
Your
but
dad brought home a therapist. I was thinking
you could
like
talk
asteroids
to a
or something.
that
is kind of nice.
The computer was like.
I hope it actually was a good.
It was
well, there goes our crack staff. They're crawling for more beers. That happens a few times an episode. Don't mind them. But that's pretty intense for a kid to be like, this computer's going to answer me. Did that like blow your mind in terms of? I mean, I don't know what you played with growing up until then. I know I had a wiffle ball. I had a football. All of a sudden, that's mind blowing.
Well, it was. It was pretty limited. It would usually just say, "Tell me more about," and then some phrase that you had just said,
Okay.
or something like that. It wasn't.
It wasn't like digging into your deep, dark past.
No, it was pretty basic. But still, the fact that it could take these letters, these green letters on a black background on this old screen,
Right.
and like speak it to you.
Absolutely.
That was cool.
Pretty advanced. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did a gaming night last night where we were watching some of the old video games that from E.T. and some of that stuff, and it was amazing. Some of the basic graphics and the simplicity, which at the time, was pretty wild. You could actually play something on screen, but now we look at it and we go, oh my gosh. I mean, now there's artificial intelligence, there's all this stuff going on. They don't have to tell a computer how you're feeling. It knows right now. It knows what you had for lunch. It knows where you were today. It's a little scary.
True.
So let's, so then you see, okay, you're into computers, you're having a good time, your dad's bringing stuff home from work, which gets you excited about the industry in general.
Yeah.
What next then? You went off to college?
So I studied applied math in college.
Okay.
And,
Applied math.
Applied math.
Okay. And that is as opposed to regular?
As opposed to regular math.
Okay, what is applied math?
So a regular math person looks at his shoes when he talks to you. An applied math person looks at your shoes when he talks to you.
I love that. I don't know what it means, but I love it.
They're the social math people.
They're social math people.
Yeah.
Okay, applied math. So there's a math guy that goes to bars, basically.
Right.
Okay. How do you like my shoes?
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you.
nice.
Likewise. We kind of did our blue ensemble.
Yeah,
today.
I know it. I think we coordinated it.
I think we look good. Your wife wanted you to wear a red shirt?
Yeah, sort of like a maroon.
Yeah.
But she thought it wouldn't be as good with this background.
So she really looked into this.
She did.
Wow.
She did.
Does she often have a say in what you wear, or is it just when you go on hot shows?
Definitely for my all my TV performances.
Yes.
But
yes. Well, the women always know best. I
For
think.
sure.
All right. So you go off and you're doing applied math in college,
math,
and you're
right.
having a good old time checking out everyone's shoes. And then what? What do you have any inkling at that point in life what you want to do?
Just something with technology, computers, math. I got somewhat into finance. Took some finance classes.
Okay.
And economics classes.
Okay.
But I worked at a tech startup in sort of the web 1.0 bubble.
This is now out of school?
No, during college.
Oh, during college.
So
okay.
Mid to late.
So you're going to college and then
90s.
Also working a job?
Yeah, not full time, but
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, a lot of people were doing it.
Really?
But so that seemed like the path, and then my graduation was in 2002.
Okay.
Which was the bottom
Things were not going so well.
The tech industry.
Yes. That's right, because late 90s, everything was booming. The dot-coms, all that. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
Okay. So you came to New York, or?
Yeah, so I moved to New York, ended up working in finance for over a decade.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a bank on Wall Street kind of thing, or? Because I have a lot of friends that always say they're in finance, and I was like, okay, what does that exactly mean? I know they work a lot of hours.
The hours are long, but
okay.
So I worked at a quantitative hedge fund. So it's a company.
Hedge fund. Okay.
Yeah, so a company that applies sort of statistics and computer science to financial markets in order to try to make money.
Is that a real thing? Like, is that well, I guess it was. But I mean, that you hear that sometimes. Like, you can create an algorithm or a program that actually thinks and figures out market trends and advises you to make wise investments. So that's real, huh? A computer can do that?
Yeah, it's definitely real. There are a lot of funds here that are based on that.
Is that right? Forgive me, I will, for everyone, I'm an absolute idiot when it comes to the economy, the stock market. I'm a comedian, so we don't have a lot of disposable income generally. You heard the thunder. That's my dad mad that I'm not investing in a 401k. So any of my questions that seem silly, it's because I am a silly boy, literally, for a living. But that is interesting to know then, because I always thought stock markets were Wall Street. You know, I saw the movie Wall Street, and that was Michael Douglas looking and go, wow, this one feels good, or I got a little inside, I got a tip here.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot more technology to it than just people with a good idea.
Yeah, the places I worked were definitely not that kind of environment at all.
Okay.
You know, it was people programming computers and be on the phone sometimes, but
no one
really mostly
punching
was,
you in the park and like the movie. Okay,
no,
that's
nothing.
just a scene from the movie if you haven't seen it. Okay,
nothing like that.
Would that be what you did on a Friday night though? Get a case of beer and watch like stock movies? No.
Yeah, I watched all those movies, Wall Street and Boiler Room.
Boiler Room, I loved that.
Yeah,
Giovanni Ribisi.
I think
Yes.
I think that's a lot of people have the conception that all of Wall Street is that.
Yeah.
But in fact, that's a small and diminishing part of what happens on Wall Street these days.
I would imagine it would be. And then The Wolf of Wall Street, which I just recently rewatched, quite a story. Hard to believe that was even possible to get away with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, you're pumping up a stock, and then you're getting a bunch of people invested, and then you're selling your own? Is that what the deal is? I'm looking for tips here.
Does that still work? I don't know exactly how much of that was based on the true story, but definitely, pre-financial crisis, there was a lot more shenanigans going on, I think.
Absolutely, and I imagine technology, in a large way, really helped the authorities keep more eyes on people.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I can imagine back in the day, when it was 1980 and computers were still pretty new and rudimentary. I mean, it was little stock tickets, right? They were writing little paper things, right?
Yeah.
Those guys still exist, though. When you go see the stock market, there's still guys screaming stuff. What are they screaming?
There are still guys on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
And they've got like those deli jackets on.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are specialists.
Okay.
Which is a very, very specific role that they have on the New York Stock Exchange. So they basically, at this point, their job is to help the computers.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're not.
They're not placing an order and someone's hearing it going, oh, okay, how many? It's all computers.
Yeah, it's all the stuff is done through computers, and all their stations now have tons of computer screens, a giant TV above it.
Right.
So they're.
Wow, there we go. We're getting some weather here at SBTV Studios. How's that feel? We might want to talk fast in case we lose power here. Okay, so 10 years in finance, you're getting some experience, you're learning about the markets, you're applying things that you had learned in college, you think?
Definitely.
Okay, well, applied math, there you go.
Applying math right there.
Then what? You're sick of work, you want to do something on your own, you're having ideas, you're what?
Yeah, so the last regular job that I had, I would say, was I was at a commodity-focused hedge fund.
Gotcha.
So trading futures on like oil, corn,
and trading futures means literally where they're going to go in the future?
A futures contract is just a financial instrument that's based on delivery of a commodity at a specific time in the future.
Okay.
But most of the time you don't actually take delivery. It's just a sort of a pricing mechanism.
Okay. Okay. So you're kind of betting on the future then.
Yeah. So it's a way to get exposure to the price of a commodity or to hedge yourself if you're a producer. So a lot of producers, like an oil company, extracts all this oil and then it's sitting there and they have the price risk while it's there. Like if the price of oil goes down 50% between the time when they take it out and when they sell it, that's a huge risk for them.
Okay.
So they can mitigate that risk with a futures contract.
Oh, okay. A little bit of an insurance plan then.
Yeah, exactly. It can be an insurance plan.
Okay.
But they're traded similarly to stocks. You can buy them and sell them on an open market.
Okay. I only know about stocks, but okay. So you're messing around at that last job, your last real job.
Yep.
Then what happened?
So I joined that company when it was very small and kind of a startup environment actually, and was there for 7 years. So while it expanded, it grew, became very successful and was eventually acquired by a large private equity company.
Okay.
So I worked in the sort of corporate headquarters environment for a couple of years.
Gotcha.
And,
suit and tie.
Yeah,
serious.
It's such a contrast. So our first office was on like 29th and 5th. I think it's like the Rug District or something.
Okay,
it's
sure,
It's not a glamorous part of town.
I know exactly where you are, yeah. Was your wife picking out shirts at that point or no? That's just you dressing yourself?
We weren't married yet at that point. Okay. So I was on my own for
on
sure.
Your own,
yeah.
Right? Shopping for rugs. Okay.
And yeah, we ended up, on 53rd and Madison on the 38th floor of this building with everyone in suits and ties all around us.
Right.
And
Sounds like a dream.
well, you know, it was cool to see the evolution of the company from, you know, a bunch of guys,
Just the beginning,
you know,
yeah.
just trying to make it happen to being an arm of
That is pretty wild.
this giant corporation.
Yeah, something that was literally nothing and now is a thing.
Yeah, so that was an awesome experience for sure. But yeah, after a couple years at the
Right.
mothership was when I took a break.
Okay.
And yeah, I took a year off at that point, which was an amazing thing to do. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great thing that not a lot of people get to do, huh?
Yeah.
Just say, I'm going to take some time. Good for you.
Yeah, no, it was
What'd
awesome.
you do? Did you travel? Did you?
Yeah, I went to China with
Wow.
my girlfriend at the time, now my wife.
Very cool. Congratulations.
We got a puppy.
Oh my goodness.
Which I don't know how you could do that if you have a full-time job, because that is a major commitment.
It's a huge thing, yeah.
Especially in New York, because you can't just let them out in the yard. You know, you gotta take them out.
It's a thing. It takes time, yeah.
It was also like the snowiest winter in decades.
Okay.
And we got him in October, I think.
Oh,
so
man.
it was like,
A wife and a puppy. Like, you became a grown-up all in 1 year.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And we renovated our apartment. So it
Oh
was
my
like,
goodness.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
like all
And
the,
you got a maroon shirt.
I did.
Yes, this is...
Which I didn't wear today, thanks to my wife.
Next
but-
time when we do the sequel. Okay, so that's very cool though. You traveled a bunch, and that's awesome. And at that point, you're thinking, what do I want to do with my life?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, the choices were basically do something similar to what I had been doing,
Right.
or you know, take a different branch and try to build something new from scratch.
And is that the beginning then of
Yeah,
Investor?
that's how it started. So one of my good friends from college, who was actually lived next door to me freshman year of college, so
Okay.
one of my oldest friends,
Okay.
and I had just sort of been talking about how the investment process for individuals is not that great. Like
Okay.
he has a professional investing background also, so you know,
Gotcha.
being immersed in this environment that is just really designed to help you be a good investor
Right.
and make money and be successful.
Right.
And
You're
then
saying for individuals, meaning a guy like me, if I wanted to go invest, you're saying them it's not.
it's very different from that.
Gotcha.
And so we both had our own portfolios that you know we wanted to manage also, and we were talking about, you know, what website do you use, where do you get your
Sure.
information and news and all these
Right.
things.
If you're just going to trade on your own, like
Yeah,
like
just-
an E-Trade or one of those kind of sites.
Excuse
Okay.
me, exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, we had reached the conclusion that there wasn't really a platform out there that
To really help an individual.
to help individuals invest the way
Oh, wow.
that we wanted to.
Okay.
And it didn't start necessarily as, you know, an idea to found a company or anything. It was just sort of this problem that we had noticed, and
Right.
And eventually we started, you know, doing some back of the envelope, like, is it possible to build this ourselves? You know,
Wow.
how much time is it going to take? How much money do we need to raise?
Now, this is
And-
exciting. I mean, you're literally sitting there talking about, am I going to start a company?
Yeah. It was,
That's nerve-wracking, I would think.
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for both of us for sure the biggest risk we've ever taken in our careers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned your friend and your roommate who you know. A lot of the startups that I hear about, success stories in all different kinds of industry, usually involve like that friend. You know, so I called my friend, or I called this guy who I knew for years. You know, that kind of
That's
thing.
right, yeah.
Yeah, that must be nice to have kind of, especially a friend who you know you can trust, and you know, say, okay, this is like, let's chat about this.
Yeah,
Tell
I
me I'm
mean-
not crazy.
There are very few people I would have done
Right.
this adventure with,
Right.
you know, and he's one of them. But yeah, I do hear about people founding companies on their own, and I think
Sure.
that is a much harder path.
To
you know.
have another person to bounce it off, and who may have strengths that you don't have, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, just having someone that you trust and you know you can work with.
Yeah.
Is massive.
So tell me the company. I want to hear more about the process of getting off the ground, how you did it. But
Yeah.
for our viewers, what does the company do when the elevator pitch? When someone says, what does your company do?
Yeah, absolutely. So the company's called Investor. It's spelled NVSTR.
Which we love, NVSTR.
Yep.
And NVSTR.com is the website.
Yes.
Which is such a neat thing. 0 vowels, but it sounds like investor, looks like investor. I love that name.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a stock ticker, Like
That's what it looks like.
If you
that.
say AMZN, everyone knows you mean Amazon.
Right. I love that. Who came up with that?
I think my co-founder did.
Yeah?
I can't take credit for that.
Yeah?
But,
Does that annoy you sometimes? You're like, damn.
No, it's a good name. And the domain was available, which is huge these days.
Which is a big thing, absolutely.
Very few domains out there. So.
Absolutely. So I interrupted you. So elevator pitch, just met you. You're looking at my shoes. What does your company do? What does your company do?
Investor is an online investing platform for individuals.
Okay.
It empowers individuals to invest better through collaboration and modern investment technology.
Okay, and what does that mean? Collaboration with people who are experts at it?
Yeah, so...
Again, I'm an idiot. I have like an E-Trade account, and I go on, and I don't know, I hit a button, and what happens?
It's a good question. So there's a couple different ways you can collaborate on the website.
Okay.
One is there's a social component to it, so you can connect to people that you know, similar to like a LinkedIn or a Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And then you can, once you're connected, you can see what they're invested in percentage terms only, not dollar amounts.
That's interesting.
So it helps you, people that you're probably having these conversations with anyway, like, do you still like this stock, or what's your biggest holding right now, and that kind of thing.
Sure. You can see what they're doing.
It skips, you can just see it.
Yeah.
It makes that interaction much easier.
Absolutely.
And then we also have sort of like a LinkedIn or Facebook style news feed.
Okay.
So you can see when you're connected to people, you can see what are their activities, what are ideas that they're posting about stocks, have they done any trades?
So it's like a
have they made
community.
new connections. Yeah, it's a community focused on investing.
Right.
And there are also interesting things you can do sort of on the community level, so not necessarily people that you're connected to directly.
Right.
But we have, so you can post something that's sort of like a comment about a stock.
Okay.
We call them pros and cons because you have to label it as whether it's either a pro or a con for the stock that you're talking about, just to give it a little structure.
Right.
And then those get up and down voted by the community, kind of like Reddit style.
Sure.
So the kind of the best ideas, get filtered by the community up to the top.
To the top, sure.
So it's very easy to see. You go to the Amazon website, you have the cons and the pros, and you can see, what are people in the community currently concerned about, what are the things that they're really excited about.
Absolutely.
And those can be either sort of free-form short text that people write, or you can also link to an article. And then, so we found that there wasn't really a great way to share news about stocks. Also, that was another, people would email each other, links to news and things like that.
Right.
But having it all built into the platform, you just put the link in. It shows you a little preview. It shows you the headline.
And for a user, then a little more credibility. Then I can go and click on that and say, oh, that's an article. I can read about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's not just some crazy guy advising some nutty stock or something.
And our news sources are filtered. So that's another, I think, big advantage.
Absolutely.
Having worked in the industry, we kind of know which sources are credible and which are just going to be full of clickbait and ads and things.
Exactly, all the random stuff that fake news, if you will. Right?
Yeah, the fake news.
Okay, I didn't want to rush you through it, though. Bring me from the beginning of the back of the envelope and the idea to it becoming a company it is now. You've been now in business for a few years.
About 4 years.
Yeah, so tell me, what are the benchmarks? What are the big moments in starting your own company?
Yeah.
Raising money, I would assume. Actually building a site. I mean, that sounds so overwhelmingly intimidating.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts, definitely.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest decisions we had to make first, right up front is, do we want the site to just link to your investment account at a different brokerage, or do we want to have it, be our own brokerage?
All right.
Which the latter is much harder because of regulatory considerations and all kinds of things. But we decided to do it that way, so you can actually invest money in an investor account. It's not, it's not connected to another account that you have.
Wow. It's the SEC, huh? We gotta watch our step here.
Wow, that was something.
Yeah, I think we're sleeping here tonight. I think we're Okay, so that's a big deal.
Yeah,
as
so
you
that
say
was-
then,
that was
'cause
a
now
big-
you're not just an information and advisement site. You're saying
Exactly.
you can do it.
It's not just sort of a social site, it's a social investing site.
Right.
And there are a few advantages to that. One is, when people apply, if you ever apply to a financial product, you need to put in some information about yourself.
Sure.
And so that helps us make sure that that the content on our site is really.
Are you scared right now, or is that?
We don't get thunder like this in New York, though.
We need the 8-year-old computer. How do you feel right now? Okay, sorry.
So basically, in the process of applying for an account, you also help maintain a high standard in the community, because it's not a bunch of robots talking to each other. It's
Right.
not a bunch of people posting spam and
Right.
things like that. It's really a brokerage account with a built-in network.
Real legit, yeah.
So it's real people.
Okay.
So that's one big advantage.
And you had to raise funds, I would assume, to build this thing.
We did, yeah. So we funded it ourselves initially.
Okay. That's a nice way to do it if you can, right?
Yeah,
I would
mean,
think.
there are pros and cons.
Well,
but,
yeah. What are some of the pros? I would think you don't have anyone to answer to.
Right,
That's
right.
nice.
And it's just
The cons is
fast.
it's your money.
You just start up a company,
Yeah.
open a bank account.
Yeah, we're doing it.
We estimated what we would need for the first year.
Right.
That we were fortunately able to handle that amount ourselves, and
Right.
then just boom, get it started.
Right.
We didn't have a pitch deck. We didn't have
That is nice.
investor due diligence, like all the things that you have to do when you're raising money as a startup.
Sure.
So that was great. But yeah, we do now have an excellent group of angel investors
Okay.
who are really supportive, and they come mostly from the finance and tech worlds.
Okay.
Yeah, raising outside money from the right people, I think, can be a massive boon to your company.
Sure, it's been a huge undertaking, but I imagine it's the right kind of money too, right? The right kind of people. You don't want just someone with an opinion. You want to make sure it's somebody who, especially they're going to have a voice of some sort, that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely important to get high quality angels in early
Sure,
on.
sure.
But they can be so helpful, and it's
So what was your first big moment? What was your first big, like, oh my gosh, I think this is working, or I think we're going to do this, or
Yeah.
it's happening?
So probably the first big moment, so we were working on the regulatory stuff and the web development kind of in parallel.
Right.
And then we ended up having a website that was ready to sort of do an alpha test, ready to just launch it with very limited
Right.
user set.
Right.
That was ready before we were ready to open the brokerage account. So we ended up launching it in a sort of alpha test with only simulated trading.
Okay.
So you couldn't actually put in real money, you couldn't trade real stocks.
Gotcha.
But we would give you a certain amount of play money basically, and everything else was plugged in. So you could do simulated buys and sells of stocks, you could manage your portfolio, you could post ideas.
Okay.
Once that was up and running,
You're saying we've done
that
this.
was amazing.
Yeah. You're looking at it going, oh my gosh, did you sleep at all during this? Was it 22 hours a day of just like up in the middle of the night thinking of something?
Yeah, it was all those. We didn't have an office back then either, so we were all just we were working all the time.
Yeah,
all the
just
time.
nonstop. I would think. Yeah.
yeah.
And because it's just you and it's consuming you, and oh my goodness. And yet at this point, are you married though? You had the dog and the wife and the apartment and.
We got married, I think, about a year into it.
Okay.
So,
Oh boy.
Initially, we weren't. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
She must really love you.
She was so supportive. Honestly, that's a good founder, a good angel, and a supportive spouse
and
or
an
partner.
awesome wife.
Those are ingredients to success, I think.
Congratulations to you, man. I'm so excited to hear about it because I love, as a guy who decided to do comedy, just, to take the road less traveled, it's certainly, any time I hear somebody taking a chance, doing something less traditional, I just think it's so inspiring. And I mean, boy, you did it on a large scale, and it sounds like it's going fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to check out the site. For our viewers, it's investor.com, NVSTR.com. patrick.com.
Yes.
And man, I thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Yeah.
And we look forward to having you back and getting a few tips from you.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
This is Greetings from Somerville, everybody.